How to recruit Minthara without destroying the grove in Baldur's Gate 3. This tutorial will show you how to successfully recruit Minthara without sacrificing Halsin or any of our favorite tieflings that we meet in Act 1. I'm sure there's other ways to get the same result, but this is how I do it, so I thought I would share for those that have asked. Step 1 is taking out Priestess Gut in her private quarters. I typically cast silence so she can't alert anyone else in the camp, and once she's dead I kinda stuff her in a box. I'm very polite. After Priestess Gut is gutted, I head down to free Halsin. Now the order of these steps in fights can probably be changed, but I found the way I do it to be the easiest with leaving little to no room for error. During this fight, make sure to take out the kid goblins first, just so they don't alert anyone else in camp and aggro everybody. Once everybody down here is dead, Halsin will come out of his wild shape and you'll have a conversation together about the tadpoles. Here he'll ask you to take out Minthara, the hobgoblin, and Priestess Gut, who we've already taken out. From here, you have the option to either have Halsin tag along with you or stay behind. I recommend leaving him behind. This is because having Halsin in your party automatically initiates combat whenever a goblin sees him, and that's important to know if you're trying to successfully recruit Minthara. I suggest taking a long rest here before we take out Minthara and the hobgoblin, otherwise you might run into some other problems later. After a long rest, it's time to take out Minthara, but not entirely. Before doing anything else, take out this war drum in Minthara's room. This drum will cancel the condition temporarily hostile, which is something Minthara has to have in order to recruit her correctly. To make Minthara temporarily hostile, steal the scroll of blur in front of her on the desk. Minthara will obviously get grumpy, temporarily hostile, and you can initiate combat from here. Either right at the start of combat or after you get a few hits in, you're going to want to toggle non-lethal damage. Non-lethal attacks can be toggled in the passive menu, and it's used to knock someone unconscious instead of permanently killing them. This has to be done unarmed or with a melee weapon. Magic and long-range weapons will still permanently kill your target even with non-lethal toggled, so keep that in mind. Once Minthara is knocked out, the journal will update and you can move on to the hobgoblin. You can also loot Minthara for her armor and belongings, but I suggest leaving at least her underwear behind so she doesn't show up at Moonrise in her birthday suit. Take it from me. Take out the other goblins and then short rest here if you'd like. After that, you're going to go grab Halsin. Long resting instead of short resting here actually makes Minthara respawn with full health and not temporarily hostile. So I don't recommend long resting until the entire quest, including the hobgoblin, is completed. With Halsin now in tow, you can go take out the hobgoblin and complete the quest. Once the quest is completed and all the goblins in that specific area are gone, Halsin will thank you for all that you've done. To avoid any additional fights that you may not be prepared for, I recommend teleporting straight to the Emerald Grove. Once the tiefling party is over, you can always go back to the goblin camp and get the rest of those goblins for some extra XP. You can tell Zeblor that you'll meet him and all the other tieflings at the party, and then you can go down into the grove to watch Halsin scream at Kaga. Side note, does anyone else just wish Halsin would just give it to Kaga once? No? Just me? Okay. Once the journal has updated again, feel free to finally long rest and head to the tiefling party. You've now done everything in Act 1 to successfully recruit Minthara in Act 2, so feel free to do other quests like the Underdark, the Creche, or flirting with murderous vampires. Once you reach Moonrise Towers in Act 2, you'll find Minthara in front of Ketheric Thorm standing trial. And if you're like me and forgot to leave her some clothes, she'll be naked. You'll receive a prompt to stay silent. Use your powers to influence Minthara, Zarel, or Ketheric. I typically go with influence Zarel. You'll need a 16 to succeed, and Zarel will say maybe we should be a little bit easier on Minthara. From there, Ketheric will send Minthara downstairs where you can save her.
Mercy! Please!
After the cutscene is completed, you'll have a new quest called Decide Minthara's Fate. This is where sometimes the quest can bug, so I recommend sending one person in your party back to camp either before saving Minthara downstairs or before you physically take her out of Moonrise. Head downstairs in Moonrise and take out the two questioners holding Minthara, and then Minthara will ask you to help her escape. Doesn't really matter how you get her out, whether you disguise her, turn her invisible, or you can just pass some checks along the way. Once you reach the Moonrise waypoint, Minthara will stop and ask to stay at your camp. This is where you can officially recruit our favorite paladin onto your team. When you head back to camp, Minthara will be there waiting for you, and you can officially add her to your party. Recruiting Minthara using this method will not prevent you from recruiting Halsin. However, they do currently share a campsite when you have both officially recruited. Whoever you officially recruit first in Act 2 is whose tent will be visible, but both will be playable. Thank you so much everyone for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything else you'd like me to cover, leave your requests down below. I hope you enjoy your new companion Minthara and have a great rest of your day.